Well, obviously this is not a fun one to come into after a tough loss, on the road and getting behind way early and just all the things that went with that. Extremely disappointed, no other way to say it. Had high expectations going to that game. Give EIU credit that they've got a great team, and they did the things they needed to do. We didn't. So as we've talked about this morning in the team meeting, thank God we've got another chance to play. It's going to be senior day. We still got playoff hopes alive. We want to finish up on a great note, play our best game of the year this week. It's our Super Bowl this week. That's how we're looking at it. So, we just got to put that one behind us, and that's sometimes tough to do. But our guys have been really good about bouncing back from, the 2 losses we had previous. So I expect, nothing really any different than that from them.
And just preview Southeast Missouri a little.
Yeah, I think, Southeast Missouri is, and I know people think this, once again, I've said this so many times about coach talk, but you've got a really good offense. They've ran the ball extremely well on everybody. Very reminiscent to the old Nebraska teams. Quarterback Lathrop is a very good runner. They run the lead option and all kind of different options. A lot of 2-back options. You've got running back that's 195. You got one that's 245. You got a fullback that's 260 pounds. I mean, so it's just a big offense. They're very solid on defense, good in the kicking game. Record hadn't always indicated that, but they played Ole Miss real close. I think they've won 2 straight. So we're expecting a team that's going to come in and play for their seniors just like we're going to play for ours. So we expect them to to come in here and be ready to go.
Coach, they're pretty hefty on the special teams too. I think that Davis kid is a really good returner.
He is. Yeah, I think they're. He's a guy they run the reverses to a lot. He's a really good kickoff return. I think they've probably led the league in kickoff returns a number of years. He's just a scat back. 5'8", 175, can fly. He also is their punt returner. So I think if you're looking at special teams, that's something they do a pretty dang good job in. That we're going. That's a big deal to us. So we're going to have to definitely be on the lookout for him.
And I asked you yesterday about the Lathrop boy that plays quarterback for them. He's a double threat, or is he more a running guy than he is a
he's really runner first, but he's still a good thrower. He, like I said, he reminds me so much of those old Nebraska guys, the Frosts and Couch and those guys that, it's a tailback at quarterback, yet he can throw the ball. He's accurate, can stay alive. I mean, it's one of them guys you just can't hem up in a phone booth kind of guy. And the things they do offensively, once again, is different. These are things that 10 years ago we saw almost every week. 2-back runs and downhill and lead options and zone options, and now you don't ever see that. So once again, it's kind of different to see that. Now it's kind of a different thing now.
And as you dissected them on film, I know Tony was talking last week about how important against P last week when they played, but that they had to start doing little things to make themselves better. I mean they're like 3 and whatever they are, and 1 and 2 or something in the league. But are you noticing anything in that team that's just keeping them a step shy?
Well, I tell you, let's go back to the EKU game. They take the ball right down the field. They're on the 5-yard line, about to go in, and the quarterback fumbles. They're down there doing this. They cross midfield. They're on about the 35. He fumbles another one. It's that shoot yourself in the foot. So you can't, on our side of the ball. You can't factor that in. You can't count on those things to happen. I didn't look at the ball. I don't remember them hardly turning the ball over. Against Austin P. They checked with me. They found a great place to run the ball and did it. And Austin P. now, if you go back to our game, did a good job against our run. So it wasn't like, they didn't have a pretty good run defense, knew they were running and couldn't stop it. I don't know that they really ever stopped them. Now Austin P. moved the ball pretty well on them too, but I think they're, offensively they're interesting.
Interesting?
Yes, they do. They do a good job, and like I said, it's not something that you see a lot. So I think right there, that's an advantage. We're going from empty, and not that they won't do a little bit of that.
Is it almost like going on a history lesson? But all this stuff, the way football has evolved over the last 4 or 5 years, and then you see these people.
That's right.
And it's throwback.
That's right. You know, and you build yourself for speed and, you know, empty and tempo, and here's a team checking with me, and you know, he checks it. They check every play. They're trying to find the best place to run it. And now Tennessee Tech did the check with me. So, but I think just the tight, you know, and then you got these big, huge backs. You know, I mean, my gosh, they're. I mean, when you got 260 pounds back there, fullback, that's. I think the only word for that is interesting.
I'd like to ask both of the players, what both of you guys recall from previous SEMO games. I know they're a real physical, physical team both sides, but what do both of you guys remember from your experiences playing them in the 2 and 3 and 4 years that you faced them?
This will actually only be my second time playing them. I played them last year, and I just remember they were pretty big up front, and I'm not sure if this is true or not. Do they got a big nose guard this year? Maybe. I haven't got a chance to watch film, but I heard they had a big transfer in, so I mean that'll give them a little more size up front. And I mean, I just remember them having a pretty big defensive line, and but they've been solid.
This is just my second time playing them too, and last year they had some pretty athletic guys. I mean, they didn't seem all that big defensive end, but they were they could definitely move, and then linebackers could come upfield in a hurry.
And the other thing, if both guys would address their experience of this year especially, you have bounced back well from losses. The Murray game, you can't play really, really good against Murray. Lost to Tennessee State, had the off week and won the 3 in a row. What's been the element in that following week from those losses that allowed you to fight through or turn things around just so quickly, like clearly you will need to be doing this week?
This guy right here.
No, you.
I know what I'm saying. He just tells us, it's all right. Put it behind us and move on. I mean, first thing he says after the games like that, he just says, don't get down on anybody, don't point fingers, and we're a team, we're a family, and we're just going to fight through this tough time, move on to the next game, and correct our mistakes. That's about the best thing you could tell the team, in my opinion, after a loss like that.
Like Gavin said, our coaches are a big part of it, and also the players get fired up too. I mean, nobody likes to lose, and especially like we lost on Saturday. It's embarrassing. And, I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less than everybody to be fired up today, and I know the coaches, they will be riding us today hard. I mean, it's not a joke. They know it. And
Is there any element internally between with you guys players that, not that the light had come on, but things change either with approach wise or anything that you've noticed that the players have done when those weeks come?
I could say me personally, I don't want to let my senior year go down like that, and just do everything we can to, after a loss like that, to turn it around and come back out full speed next week.
I wouldn't say there's much of a different approach, really. We're going to handle practice the same way and make a focus on special teams and running the ball, of course, and making our passes, pass protection, especially for the offensive line pass protection. I mean, I wouldn't say there's much of a difference, except, of course, this might be our last week, and we're going to do our best to come out with another W.
That's right.
Gavin will be able to stay, but Taylor will have to leave, so if anybody has any additional questions for Taylor, they'll need to knock those out.
Both of you will just talk about senior day, last round possibly, whatever, playing here.
I'm sure it'll be an emotional day. I mean, a lot of us seniors got emotional Saturday after we lost that game, and we just saw our hopes and dreams go down the hole, and there's probably still a good chance that we could get in. I mean, we're looking at it that way, and we're just going to do our best to go out with another win and keep it up.
Yeah, I think back to my senior year of high school when it was our last game, and it's definitely emotional, and I'm not complaining on it being my last game. I mean, we're going to go out there and play as hard as we can. Hopefully everything will work out to where we'll have several more games ahead of us.
Taylor, because you gotta go, would you expect, since you think that, you know, you're still in the hunt for postseason stuff, that it's gonna take another game like Eastern Kentucky, just to, you know, you gotta do as much, as widespread as it could be to impress the selection committee? I mean, is it gonna have to be a really one-sided thing to get you back in there, or what?
Well, honestly, I don't know about if it'll have to be like just another humongous game, but as long as we play good as a whole and get all three units clicking in the special teams, offense and defense, we'll just have a solid game, and if it shows up on film, it'll show up on the scoreboard. And I think it'll be all right.
And you've been here a long time. A lot of stuff happens, you know, during the course of it. What's the best thing that's happened for you athletically, football-wise, since you've been here? And then turn it the other way, what's been the, for lack of a better word, worst thing that's happened in your career?
I'll start with the worst. Probably the worst thing was just last year. Almost having a losing record is not fun. What did we go, 6-5, something like that? Losing 5 games. I mean, I haven't done that since early in high school, and that's never fun for anybody. And probably one of the best things is getting to meet our new coaching staff and getting to help set the tempo for what they got coming up, recruiting wise, and just in general of the Coach Clark era. And that'd probably be one of my most memorable things.
Coach Clark, you got 14 seniors. It's their last year, really your first year. Just talk about what they brought to you in your first year here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you get talking about it, it gets emotional. And, you know, it's like your kids. You know, that's how we feel. It's a big family, and for those guys to buy in and not know us and ask, you know, we ask so much out of them. I'm really proud of them, you know, really proud of them. Just good group of guys, you know. I call them boys, they ain't boys, but good group of men. We're proud of them, proud to have them. Hopefully this in our last week with them.
Taylor, how cool would it be if you did get into the playoffs? I would think that your first year here you were in, and the last year that you're here, you're in. You kind of have bookend playoffs. I mean, if that were to happen, would you find that to be a neat circumstance?
Oh, I would love it. It'd just be one of the best things ever, probably. I've never got to actually play in the playoffs here. The first year I was here, I was redshirted when we played Wofford. If we could go and make the playoffs, I mean, I'm sure the team would love it just as much as me, and it'd be nice to be able to try to make a run at the national title.
First time we've had Gavin, I think, with us, Coach. If you would just talk a little about what he brings.
Well, you know, I think one of the best things about Gavin, obviously, was when you was a good athlete. I really didn't know how good an athlete he was till we got out there and saw him moving around. But, you know, just to have a guy like that that's a tremendous athlete. Obviously, he's a great target. His blocking has improved immensely. You know, I think we've had all these NFL scouts. Both these guys have gotten attention. I think he'll have a chance to play at the next level. You know, now to just kind of see how that works out. But just been a great leader, comes to work every day. Just done a really good job. Really proud.